Hello everyone, it is your boy Frosty R&B, the Frostman himself. Today we're going to be doing something completely different on the channel. We're going to be doing a Zelda tier list based off of the Legend of Zelda video game series and how I would rank them and why. With that being said, jump straight into the tier list. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, I just need to put a disclaimer. These are based off of my opinions, how I feel about each and every single entry to the series. With that being said, I couldn't find any good tier list that contained the CDI games, the Tingle games, and most importantly, the originals versus the remake. I only found lists that contained originals, very little remakes, and vice versa. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump straight into this tier list. Now, normally, I usually start with the first entry of the series and just go from via release date. However, because many people love Breath of the Wild so much, and it's probably the most well-known Zelda game as of this recording, might as well start with that one, right? Now, if you've been following me on Twitch for quite some time, you know exactly how I feel about Breath of the Wild. And it gets an F. Now, my feelings have not changed at all of this game whatsoever. I played this game the first time maybe for about 4 hours. I couldn't get anything done. And I understand people love this game. However, if you love this game, just do note that I am truly envious of you because I tried to get into it and I straight up despise this game. There's no indicators of where to go next or what to do next. I understand that it has a lot of sense of freedom. However, if I'm getting nothing done in such a long period of play session, what's the point of playing this game? And a lot of people say that it's a brand new fresh take. I do get that. However, if Nintendo just uses Breath of the Wild engine and how it is for the future mainline series, I'm probably going to stop buying the mainline game series until there's like an actual good indicator of where to go next. If Breath of the Wild 2 comes out with an indicator, problem solved. And what I mean by indicator is where to go next, what to do next. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 had the janky compass system, which I thought was okay. It at least got the job done. And Super Mario Odyssey had actually showed like some of the like moons out and about, and you could just look at a map and go to that map, certain moon that you're looking for. Those are very simple to do. I just don't get why Breath of the Wild doesn't have something like that. But that's just my personal opinion. Breath of the Wild, definitely F tier game for me. And those are my thoughts. That being said, the first game of the entire series, The Legend of Zelda, C tier for me. Now, this game did age poorly, however, I do enjoy this way more than Breath of the Wild. Sure, there's no indicators of where to go next, but the main difference between this one and Breath of the Wild is when you go to dungeons, they actually show you like an actual like level 1 or level 3. That is a good enough indicator if I need to go there now or later. Because I'm not gonna lie, ladies and gentlemen, on my first playthrough, I entered through Dungeon 3 first, and I knew I screwed up. So C tier for me for Legend of Zelda. It is a really difficult game, but it's not impossible. If I could beat it, many of you guys can beat it. Speaking of difficult games, we have Zelda 2, the black sheep of the series, but also the one that we have to thank for building up such great formulas because it introduced magic, sword combat was a lot more defined. It wasn't on grid based, it was actually on side-scrolling, so it was a side-scrolling action JRPG. But it is difficult as frickles, man. Probably one of the few Zelda games I have not finished to this very day. I got to the last palace rather, Order. I died and I couldn't enter the final palace. I will one day and conquer it. But until then, it gets a B tier for me. It does have an indicator of where to go next, kinda. Beginning game, not so much, but once you pass Death Mountain, you're good to go. Just follow the solid yellow paths and just pay attention to what you can do with the NPCs, because NPCs, you can actually interact with them. That's why you have memes about the Zelda series, because you gotta think Adventure of Link. Solid B. Really difficult game. Now, the Zelda game that pretty much defined the well standings of the traditional Zelda series. Link to the Past, to me, gets an A. There are some problems with Link to the Past, but they're just more nitpicks, if anything. The only dungeon I didn't like in this game was the Darkness dungeon, but that's because I kept getting lost due to being short by one key. But the bosses in this game are not as bad. If anything, they're probably one of the more easier ones of the entire older series. And speaking of which, we have two games here. Zelda Link's Awakening. This is the DX version, which is the kind of like a re-amp version of the original Game Boy version. And then the Zelda Link's Awakening for Switch, that was a total makeover from the original Game Boy version. Now I'm going to be ranking these the same because there isn't too many differences, well, besides like minor game mechanic changes. I'm going to be ranking both of the Link's Awakening an A tier game. A lot of cool secrets. The DX version has like the photo quest, which unfortunately Link's Awakening for the Switch took that out in replacement for the Zelda Dungeon Maker with Danpei. I don't like the Zelda Dungeon Maker at all, but if you're looking to play Link's Awakening, it's hard to say which one to go with, but for newer players, for very casual players, I would definitely go with Link's Awakening DX. If you're looking for like the retro kind of feel. But if you're like someone who's like doesn't play video games that often, I would recommend the Switch version. Other than that though, these two are both A tier games. Phenomenal series to the entry. How we get to Ocarina of Time? Am I gonna play this in F tier? I've been watching my friend recently stream this game on Twitch, and Ocarina of Time was my very first Zelda game to the series. It gets an A tier. The only problems I have with Ocarina of Time is the Fire Temple. Easily, hands out, one of the worst dungeons of the entire series. The Water Temple, I don't understand why people complain about it. Like, you just pay attention to the cutscenes, the puzzles, you're good to go. Fire Temple, I played all the versions of the Ocarina of Time. N64, both the GameCube versions, Wii port, Wii U port, 3DS, and of course emulation. After playing all those versions, Fire Temple is easily the worst temple of the entire series. Because you fall down and you're screwed. It takes like 10 to 15 minutes to get back from the Megaton Hammer section, because you go from 5th floor to 2nd floor. It's terrible. But other than that though, this is my mom's favorite game of the entire series, from what she played. And I do have nostalgia bias towards it, but it's an excellent game, nonetheless. Now, the Oracle games. Oh man. The Oracle games, I believe, deserve a second chance. I don't care what anyone says. These games deserve a second chance. If Link's Awakening got a second chance, why shouldn't the Oracle games? And I understand that Capcom developed the Oracle games for the most part, and there was supposed to be the third game called Mystical Seed of Courage, if I'm not mistaken. But that was scrapped because due to complications on the Game Boy Color. But nonetheless, Oracle Seasons, to me, gets an S. Phenomenon, very difficult combat, very difficult bosses actually. Puzzles are pretty easy. But if you're looking for difficult puzzles, Aegis. Aegis has some really difficult puzzles, nonetheless. Like, the main difference between these two is Oracle Seasons is kind of bigger because you have spring, winter, autumn, and summer on the grid-based system. So that's like 4 times. And in Oracle of Ages, you just travel from past to present. The only complaint I have about Oracle of Ages though is it's definitely the stupid Goron rhythm game before the 6th dungeon. Other than that though, these two are both S tier games, and you can do a lot of really cool Easter eggs with these games too. So definitely S tier for me. Now, Majora's Mask. I really hated this game as a kid because this game had time pressure, but it's not too bad once you get the hang of it. So, S tier for me. S tier because of NPCs, you could do a lot of interesting alternative cutscenes. There's a lot of ways to play this game, and normally I would get a lot of side quests out of the way first, before even going to the first dungeon area. It's pretty difficult, because this is like a sequel to Ocarina of Time, except they expect you to know all the basics already. It's such a deep game, man. From the NPCs, time management, it touches a lot on life, especially in relationships. S tier. Wind Waker. This is also an S tier game for me. And I think this was my sister's very first Zelda game as well. Now, I've never played the HD remake on the Wii U, but the main reason why I like Wind Waker is because there's a lot of things to do in this game, and it did introduce the Tingle Tuner, the figurines. I thought the figurines were cool, except completing it was just abysmal. A lot less dungeons, but the exploration was just amazing. And the cartoony graphics, where Nintendo had to take a risk with the cell shading graphics. A lot of people hated this game when it first was announced, but then people grew to love it over the years. I don't like 100%ing this game, but it's definitely my favorite one to go through for a casual run. So Wind Waker gets an S tier for me. Now we have the original GBA Four Swords game. C tier. It barely wins off of F tier because you can play, the minimum people you need to have playing is at least 2 people. The setup is really stupid with 4 people. The only reason why it's not an F tier is because I have nostalgic memories with a childhood friend of mine. He used to bring like our Zelda games to school in junior high, and we would just play during lunchtime. This is a very short adventure too, so the only thing I will have to call out Nintendo on is that if you're playing Links to the Past for the Game Boy Advance version, to get 100% on that, you have to finish Four Swords for the GBA version, and I thought it was really stupid. C tier. Minish Cap. Oh man, this one's a really good one too. Game Boy Advance, also a game that was mainly developed by Capcom. Hard choice between A and B. For Minish Cap, I'm gonna go with A. There wasn't that many games like this, well maybe besides Donkey Kong 64 to a certain extent, that allowed Link to actually shrink down in size, and you see like all these like environments that you would never really think about, like entering through a grass patch. You see like all these like giant bugs because you're so like Hikori size. Minish Cap is a really good entry. A little short, but if we're going 100%, this game's gonna really keep you busy. But nonetheless, it is a really great, how do I say, great Zelda game to the series for anyone. Not that many problems actually. So solid game. Phantom Hourglass, I'm gonna give this a B. I really do like the travel mechanic in this game, where you just have the pen and just draw to guide your ship. I thought the touch controls were implemented pretty well. I just can't play the long sessions because I would normally get like cramps on my hands. But the only thing that sets it down to a B rather than A is Temple of the Ocean King. Like, I just hate backtracking in general. Like, there's nothing wrong with backtracking in video games, but when you have a slowly game that's based off of backtracking in one single area, I think it could start to get really tedious. And that brings my next point, Spirit Tracks. This is also a B tier game. Better combat, better implications of the DS, especially using the mic. I don't remember if the Phantom Hourglass used mic, but I remember Spirit Tracks did. The only thing I hate about Spirit Tracks though is it's a travel method. The train idea is really cool. However, the problem I have with Spirit Tracks though, it's you're so limited to what you can do, and if you crash into a enemy train, it's pretty much game over. But it does have better dungeons. The tower, I don't forget what the tower was called, the Tower of Spirits or something. It's very similar to the Temple Ocean King, but it's a little bit more forgiving. And not only that, Zelda is your companion, so that's the main reason why this is a B tier game instead of a C tier. So, Spirit Tracks, I would definitely give it a try, but it's hard to recommend these two games for beginners if they've never played a Zelda game before. Because touchscreen controls and long sessions of it will give you cramps. Other than that though, I did enjoy these games. Now we get into Four Swords Adventures. I recently did a Let's Play of this last year, if I'm not mistaken. Four Swords Adventures is pretty underrated. Now, it's only a C tier due to the fact that it's pretty basic. Some of the puzzles, especially the Village of the Blue Maiden, are pretty stupid. And not only that, I don't think this game has a name entry, just like the rest of the Zelda games. Oh, and it is worth noting that they did drop the game over counter, I think after the Oracle games, with the exception of Link's Awakening for the Switch. So that's, if you're wondering what that game over counter it was at the file select screen, that's usually an indication of a game over counter. Just to let people know. Yeah, Four Swords Adventures, very easy, pretty linear. Nonetheless, it's an okay Zelda game. Triforce Heroes. I don't know what to talk about this game. Like, I kind of quit after maybe 6 levels into it, because I played single player and it's really tedious. I did play this game before multiplayer, only for like maybe 5 minutes. It's good multiplayer game, but it's really tedious and terrible as single player. So if you're gonna playing Triforce Heroes, I would highly recommend playing with people, even if it's like randos. So C tier. Hyrule Warriors. I've only played Definitive Edition, but this would go to B. Now I know I do understand that there's the Age of Calamity, but I've never played that one. But Hyrule Warriors is it's just really made for fan service. Let's just be honest. It's not a bad thing, but I do enjoy playing this game, but Hyrule Warriors, to me, it needs to be played in very short session. So, B tier for me. Really great music. Arrangements, nonetheless. Twilight Princess. This one gets a B tier for me. A lot of people were so hyped for this game when it was first revealed. And then people kind of like dislike it because it was a extended version of Ocarina of Time. I only put it B tiers because I'll tell you guys one thing. This one, I don't really know as much. I have finished and 100% completed it before. I don't know, this game doesn't really resonate with me as much as the higher-ups. And Twilight Princess does have its flaws, because I feel like it kind of dragged a little bit too long. But Midna definitely one of the best companions of the entire series, nonetheless. And the OST, guys, the OST is really good. Twilight Princess, I've only played the GameCube one. B tier game for me. Now, Skyward Sword. Alright. So this is a very controversial game of the entire Zelda series, with the exception of the CDI games. Skyward Sword, as of this recording, has been announced for the Switch HD port. What do I think about Skyward Sword? I think this game is more of a... to me, it's a C tier. I don't have problems with the motion controls, but what I do have is questionable design choices. How Skyward Sword plays out. Now, I do like the graphics. The art style is really good in this game. However, Skyward Sword is really, the best way I can put it is, it's Metroid formula Zelda game, where you honestly keep backtracking back and forth to different provinces. When you get a certain dungeon item or item in general, you backtrack and further explore more deeper into the provinces. And if I'm not mistaken, there was only 3 provinces in the entire game. So you can see where I'm thinking with the whole Metroid formula system. A lot of people love to bash the controls of this game. I think the puzzles are a lot more annoying, if I were to be honest. But nonetheless, it's an okay Zelda game. I'm looking forward to playing the Switch one, because really that's really the only complaints people have with this game. Link Between Worlds. Love letter to the past, but I'm gonna give this game to S tier. I know this may sound really weird, but this game is how you should innovate a Zelda game. If people are complaining about linearity, tell them about Links Between Worlds, because how this one works is that you rent out, you know, items for a certain cost, and you could go to that associated dungeon with that rental item. And if you do get a game over, unfortunately, I think all your rental items do go back to the shop. I'll be honest, ladies and gentlemen, this is a really fantastic game. Like, great soundtrack, great gameplay, a lot of great secrets, really strange creatures known as Mai-Mais. Not only that, the whole painting gimmick where Link goes into like a 2D with the walls. I thought that was a phenomenon. So S tier, definitely, and it's one of the more cheaper Zelda games of this entire list, actually. So S tier, definitely great recommendation to newcomers. Now, Candace of Hyrule. I do love rhythm games, but this one is kind of... it's a little off to me, for whatever reason. I'm gonna give it a B. The only reason why is because of the soundtrack, and I do love rhythm games, so that kind of affects on how I bias on this one. But nonetheless, Candace of Hyrule, if you love the Legend of Zelda OST, you're really gonna love the OST of this game, nonetheless. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's my entire Zelda tier list, based off my opinions and my interests. If you like this video, consider hitting that subscribe button, smash the like button, and then I like the comment section down below. What is your favorite Zelda game, and tell me why. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Frosty R&B. All I gotta say is, stay chilly, keep gaming. I'll see you guys in the next one.